Oh ho ho ho, welcome back. Oh my god, my face is actually so ass. Just like look at this thing in its actual detail. Holy shit, this is awful. Okay, but anyways, we're back at it again with the grand old vector validation thing here. And then surprisingly enough, they've now changed this place to be called the Archive Legacy. And as you can see here, all this text is pretty much the same except for this thing right here. While previously thought to be extinct, the vector validation obstacle courses, and their many variants, resurfaced near the conclusion of the vector validation the third event. They have since been added with earnable badges for your enjoyment. And of course today we're going to be going back inside of vector validation here, because of course as you can see there is a couple new badges and such that you could obtain for your swaggle exclusiveness. And they do say that you don't really get anything from these, but I mean, guess what? It's the grand old April Fools now, so guess what? I do not trust that, and unless if I'm severely proven wrong and I look like a monk by this, we're going to be going through this spiffle stuff and just travel along through the 5 new vector validation courses to beat. But of course, just before I start this, if you want to get the original 3 vector validation badges alongside the 3 conduit cubes, I think they were, and the final gilded gauntlet and the curator's call thing, then you should go watch, I guess, the grand old part 1 to this. So of course, now starting for part 2, we'll begin with the freest one of them all, which is the vector validation alpha here, aka the first ever version of vector validation. So why don't we go in this grandness? Okay, I don't even need to tell you anything though. Once you come into vector validation alpha here, literally all you do is just walk where I walk and just go to the end, because there's no orbs. Hooray! Okay, man, I forgot to turn off my sound oppression or suppression or whatever the hell it's called, so you can actually hear my voice a bit better during the night and then hear it in a more clear manner during the day. But besides that, hopefully you easily managed to follow me walk through the entire validation just like that, since there's no orbs you have to grab. And then of course the good old tan token will be here, and then you'll get the vector validation breadcrumbs badge and complete the vector validation alpha gauntlet or challenge, I guess. Okay, man, and now after you complete vector validation alpha over there, now we already ramp up the difficulty quite a bit with vector validation plus, and surprisingly enough, the orbs have been brought back for this. So of course, once you spawn in here, it's still quite a bit the same as vector validation, of course, but surprisingly enough, this is still a lot more tricky. So hopefully I can actually remember where they are, but I'll just try to, at least for this one, shut the hell up and just show you where to go. So your first thought might be to go up there, but of course, as you can see here, they ripped the ladder off, because I think this is one of the only few, but they moved the sewage domain orb from the SAM room up there to this secret room right here. And surprisingly enough, once you click the orbs, you'll actually have them disappear, so you won't need to worry about if you forget one, you'll already know that you've grabbed that one. So it's a lot more clear as to what orbs you already have in this version. But anyways, back to the speed up. Oh ho ho, okay, hopefully you did find those fairly easily. Holy piss, this is a lot easier than I thought it was, at least from when I first did it. But of course, if you actually did grab all those 7 slightly harder orbs, then you will be able to actually grab the red token here and get the vector validation plus challenge done and its corresponding badge. Okay, and surprisingly enough, we are kind of taking a little bit of a detour here with the Limbo subplace here, because surprisingly enough, this is a little bit easier, if not more easier, than the vector validation alpha thing, because just like it, this thing doesn't even have any orbs. You just walk through a depressed, backwards, sad vector validation. So yeah, just like I said, it's a more like depressing tone or theme of vector validation. And as you can see here, I've actually spawned not only upside down, but at the complete other side of the vector validation thing. And of course, I'll have to walk all the way back to the start instead of the end this time. So of course, there's no orbs in this, like I said, and all you have to do is just walk where I'm walking. And there you go. Hopefully that was as easy as vector validation alpha to at least follow through the map and such. But of course, once you get to the end, you'll be able to get this new white spiffy token here and complete the vector validation limbo challenge and badge, just like the previous ones. But unfortunately, even though the difficulty did ramp down quite a bit for the vector validation limbo thing here, now the difficulty is going to ramp up like hell now that we move on to the last two here, which is vector vexation and Brainspace decryption. But of course, we're going to do the last like proper vector validation new subplace thing, I guess, here, which is the vector vexation thing. Okay, man, and of course, once you load back in here, as you can see here, some of the blue orbs found from the maps might change in size and look, so they might be quite a bit bigger, and they of course might be quite a bit smaller. So that of course means the orbs are getting brought back, and there's also the main mechanic in both of these last two vector validation challenges here, which of course is the darkness inside of them. So your best bet, of course, is just going to be having to follow where I go and hopefully find where all of these are properly, which at least thankfully the first orb is pretty easy to find right here. And then after jumping through all that, you'll have to snatch this very spiffy cyan tree right here for the second orb that is not really hidden here. And now this is probably one of the most dog shit things in the entirety of any of these challenges, which is specifically the jump down to SOS in both Vexation and Brainspace decryption here. But thankfully, a main like easy strat I found, I think this will actually mainly be for the one after, but at least also for this one, you just walk straight down onto Malbear. Then what you do next is just walk left to it. So then you'll drop down to the double down poster here, and then you just walk right again. You can even clip your camera under to see where you're at to just move over to this side. But as you're falling down here, you will need to move quite a bit over to the right. So you have to keep pressing D or move the joystick to the right, or however the hell else you move. Also, I did not mean to fall into the hole here, because of course what you're actually supposed to do is if you can, well, if you land here, then you'll have to like like wrap around that, but you're actually supposed to walk across here into the invisible path here and such, and then you just keep following where I go. With the third orb in here being right on this nice old button here, which I think is the exact same button that used to be in the old ass SOS here for the good old fart button or whatever. But yeah, it's right here. And then it might be somewhat a bit hidden here. You can even kind of tell, well, not only because of the color, but you can even kind of tell with a little bit of the shaping there or whatever, that the fourth orb is hidden inside of this little alarm here or whatever, going into this like factory room or whatever of the Cheese Corp. So yeah, there's the fourth orb. And surprisingly enough, as you're walking, the fifth little blue orb or whatever is literally on the cheese altar here. So this bear turns into Sans Undertale himself, I guess. Yeah, there's the fifth one as well. Okay, this one's extremely weird though, but I think I'm right near it. But for, yeah, right here, for the sixth orb, you have to click the corner of this blue pipe or whatever. It's extremely weird. But you have to click the corner of this just random blue pipe here instead of the, like, broken door here, instead of the red section of the subtle shuttle. But that's how you get to the sixth grand orb. And then, luckily enough, it does kind of try to bait you into looking further into this, but the last orb here, surprisingly enough, is right inside of this, like, alarm thing here, or whatever the hell this thing is. It's literally just right there. But there you go. As long as you managed to actually walk through the pathways I went and snatched a lot of those orbs without just magically falling to the floor, because of how damn dark it is, you'll be able to just already claim the token here and not jump down there for both the Vector Vexation challenge completed or whatever and the badge itself. So of course, now we move on to the last one, surprisingly. And of course, practically the grand finale of all of the old Vector validation stuff before the very new stuff that came out at the beginning of the previous month released. We have the final, like, I guess, original Vector validation challenge subplace thing here, which of course is the most difficult one, and it's surprisingly enough more themed around the Affinity Anniversary thing rather than the previous 5 back here. But this is nearly almost similar to Vector Vexation, but it's a whole lot worse. So of course, this is what we have once we spawn inside of the Brainspace Decryption. And as you can see here, they've actually gotten rid of a couple of shortcuts you may use to at least your advantage, or maybe my advantage that I'm showing, but I can't really remember what all of them are. But of course, the two absolutely terrible things is that not only is this place so much fucking darker than Vector Vexation, but excluding Vector Validation Alpha and Limbo, this is the only one with an extra orb. because now there's 8 orbs instead of the usual 7. So thankfully it's actually not terrible to find, but there's now an extra orb on the list. So yeah, but thankfully for the most part, some of these are still the same, but of course a couple throughout the way are going to be a little bit different. So why not we just get straight into them. Okay, yeah, this was the one I was mainly talking about. So of course, this jump right here is a fair bit similar to the Vexation jump, but thankfully, I think this one might be a bit easier, but it's also at the same time a bit hard to figure out. But the strat I did is that as soon as you turn the corner here, you just start walking straight, because you'll knock into the torch there and then just barely, literally barely manage to like jump on the dirt here, and then you'll be able to walk back on the SOS, I guess, chamber or hidey hole or hideout, just like that. And you'll be able to, of course, progress on the invisible path here, but you do have to be careful because stuff like right here will have invisible paths. So yeah, the orbs start to get really tedious after the 5th one, because this is the 5th orb right here. So yeah, navigating through that like maze farm thing area and having to like jump up like that on the windows to even grab this orb is insanely tedious. But that's how you get the 5th orb here in the Brainspace. And now here we are to the 8th orb here, which of course is the final stretch here. And now it may seem difficult to find where this thing could possibly be inside of the like little archive area here at the end of the usual stuff like this, but you can actually find it. It's just a little sketchy to do so. But of course, what you do is, of course, you have to walk down to where you usually get the tokens here at the vector validation spot. And it might seem like you're just walking on just a black screen, but I think it is a little bit bright for the YouTube video, but literally all you do is just hang over to the left side, I think here, and then just walk over to the end of here, which there'll actually be a little walkway here, and then you'll be able to jump right on top of this. And simply all you do is just hop up here until you climb to the top of this like big ass vector pole or whatever these things are. You have to walk carefully, but as soon as you see this like orange ring here of this like speaker, I think, or this gun here, the 8th orb will be right here. And of course all you do now is reset, because it may seem like a bad thing, just like Affinity Anniversary, but it will spawn another gray walkway here, and you'll be in the little islands area here. And all you do now is just find the island where the red token, or no, the purple token lays at. I do not know my colors, but you just usually traverse through here like you did for the Affinity Anniversary badge. But then you'll actually see a new thing here, which I think this is actually supposed to be a scrapped SOS, but all you do is just hopefully follow me through here until you find the main area that has the last token residing in. And as long as you're able to find the cafeteria room here, whatever, with the snack shack poster here, the token will be residing within this corner here. And there you go. That's how you beat the hardest vector validation thing, the Brainspace decryption, and get the vector validation wonder badge, which might be the hardest version ever to exist, maybe, of vector validation. So yeah, there you go. That's how you beat all 5 of, honestly 3, because these 2 don't really feel like challenges at all, but that's still kind of how you beat all 5 of these epic new vector validation sub-place challenges, or whatever the hell they're called, that have been added on the grand old April Fool's Day. And hopefully this video doesn't get taken down or whatever because I was not supposed to show the badges, because I mean, they don't really give anything, at least for now. So what could possibly be the problem in it? So pretty please do not take this down, I guess. But nonetheless, I'm actually surprised this even is an update, but it kind of makes sense because I'm pretty sure this was like a coming soon thing in the old version of vector validation, or at least when like this event was going on for the museum curator. But I'm still kind of surprised there's like a whole ass like genre here or whatever of vector validation challenges you can do. So if you want to spend a grand old time with somebody just completely new to this, you can get the entire total of like 12 badges, I think this is, in total worth of vector validation badges. But hopefully that was nice to walk through and a lot more coherent and clear compared to the first vector validation guide I made, because apparently some of you were a bit grumpy that I cut out some parts that kind of were just filler for the most part. But hopefully that was spiffy, and who knows what the hell I'm gonna do next, so who cares? Goodbye.